This is a short video about using the tiled map editor within Unreal Engine Paper 2D projects. The reason we would want to use something external to an Unreal Engine Paper 2D project is because the built-in tile map editor that is provided by the Paper 2D plugin in Unreal Engine is just lacking in a lot of features. It allows you to paint tiles to the screen, either individual tiles or groups of tiles. It allows you to erase tiles one at a time or by dragging, and it allows you to flood fill. It also has some tooling for rotating or flipping tiles that you're putting on the screen. But beyond that, that's all you get. And so if you wanted to be able to select an area and delete, that's not possible. If you wanted to be able to take something like this existing platform and stamp that out in multiple places within your map, that's also not possible. You just might want your whole tile map creation experience just to be a little smoother, and that's where Tiled comes in. And Tiled's going to allow us to export the work we do within it as a JSON structured document, and that we can then import into Unreal Engine. So you can get Tiled online at mapeditor.org. From there, you just go to the associated itch.io page, and you can download the Tiled map editor. I've already got that installed on my computer. I'm using the 64-bit Windows version of Tiled. I've also already got a tile set downloaded. It's a tile set by the user Rotting Pixels on itch, and specifically it's the Temple Platformer tile set available here. So if you wanted to work along with me, you could go and download this same tile set. I've just got it in a folder on my desktop right now. If I wanted to create a quick little map using Tiled, the first thing I would need is to create a new tile set to bring in those tiles, those Rotting Pixel tiles. So I'm going to click this button right here, New Tile Set. I'm going to browse. I'm going to go to the Temple Platformer tile set folder on my desktop, and I'm going to select the PNG, which is the tile set. I'm going to open that up. A couple things I want to be sure of is the tile width and height. Here it's already pre-generated with 16 by 16. That wasn't the initial default, and this does happen to match my tile set. This tile set does have 16 by 16 pixels, but I had to change that the first time through, and then those just stuck. So make sure that for whatever tile set you're using, you have the correct pixel width and height. You can also specify a transparency color, so you can ensure that that check mark beside use transparent color is selected, and then you can click this button beside the color and a small version of the image will appear, and you just click anywhere in the background. In this case, it's just a pure black. The only thing odd is that it's not showing as black here because it's already selected as the transparent color. So you just click where the transparency would be, and then I'm going to give this a name. I will call it the Rotting Pixels Temple tile set, and I will click Save As, and it will give me so this is not what's going to be necessary for Unreal, this save file. This is for if you want to continue working on the project within Tiled. You need this tile set saved as a TSX file. So I'm just going to put that into the same folder on my desktop. Just save that. Here is the tile set imported. If I want to enlarge it, I can hold down Control, and I can scroll with the middle mouse button to see, and you can see that the 16 by 16 settings are indeed set up. So I'm selecting the tiles as intended. There is a collision editor within Tiled But so far, I haven't been able to get collision data to properly import into Unreal Engine. So we're not going to do the collision work within Tiled. We're just going to do the mapping within Tiled, and then we'll handle the collisions within Unreal Engine itself. Next thing we want to do is create the map, and this is what we're going to end up importing into Unreal. So under File, I'm going to go to New and select New Map. Let's say like 40 tiles by 20 tiles. Again, making sure that the tile size matches the dimensions of the tiles in our tile set. So again, this is 16 by 16. Everything else can be left to default. I will click OK here. There is my map. It's currently empty, but there is the associated tile set that I'm working with. Again, I'll just slightly enlarge it with a control scroll on the mouse. And now I can select a group of tiles and draw them out to the screen. But this is where some of the real niceties come in. So imagine I wanted a bit of a staircase. So let's say I wanted to stamp this structure around my map. I'm going to go to the stamping tool. I'm going to right click and drag over the area that I want to turn into a stamp. And lo and behold, I can now, add those to the level. I don't want this, for example, here. I could, either just erase it all like that. The other way I can perform deletion is I can go to the selection tool right here, and I can just select an area on the screen, and I can delete, or I can carve out areas that I wanted to delete. So there's just some real nice quality of life additions present inside of Tiled. I'm not going to show you all of the things that it can do, just sort of the basic workflow to get us to a state where we can import into Unreal Engine. So I'll set up a few layers here. Unreal also has a concept of layers in the maps. You'll often have, say, a background layer, maybe a layer of objects that collide, like your walls and your floors, and then maybe a layer for items that you're going to place within your map. And so I will create 3 tile layers. The first one is going to be the one that's furthest away. That'll be my background. We'll see if that's the correct order here. And then I'll say walls and floor. And I'll say this one can be items. For the background, I will select the corner of this gray set of rocks here, and I'll put that into one of those into each corner. Like so. I will then select this box here, and I think I can draw that out like so. Select this box here and draw that out like this. Same thing for the top and the bottom. That was using this tool right here. I'm not sure the name of it, but it basically lets me, I can, create whole blocks that repeat the currently selected tile. And then I can just flood fill the rest. So I can pick this middle area, flood fill. That's going to be my background. For the walls and the floors, I'm just going to do some simple selection here and build a few things that my player can jump across. Maybe that's enough. And then on items here, I might put in a few chests into the scene. And let's just say that's enough, right? You can see here that we can do the standard things of like hiding and showing our different layers. But right now what we want to do is we're going to save our map, and then we're going to export it to Unreal Engine. So let's do a save here for the map. I'm just going to save it into that same folder. And we can save this file here to a temple file. It's going to be saved as a TMX file. That's just the standard save file for tiled. So temple tiled map, that's what I'll call it. Save. And now we need to export it for Unreal Engine. Before doing that, we need to ensure that we go to Edit and Preferences, and we make sure that the check mark is present beside Embed Tile Sets. That is not the default, so you have to make sure that you have the check mark beside Embed Tile Sets enabled. Then we can go to File, Export As, and we cannot save it as the standard TMJ file extension, but that file extension is just JSON data, and so we need to save it as .json, and you may need to select the JSON map files save as type before you get that option anyway. So I'm saving mine as temple tiled map.json in that same desktop folder. If I now go into Unreal Engine, I can go into my content. I'll go into the location where I have been storing tile maps for this project. I can open up the folder location where I saved that JSON file. You'll see it right here, and I can just drag that right into Unreal. And lo and behold, a few things got created for me. One is a tile map, which we'll look at in a second. Another is a Unreal Engine Pixel 2D tile set. And another is a folder called Textures that has the tile set image in it. So if I open that up, it's the same image that we were working with in tiled. It's now been imported, and all the right settings are set up. All the right Paper 2D settings are set up on it. So there's that. Inside of the tile maps folder, as I said, we have a tile set. It should be set to the correct height and width pixel dimensions. That is our 16 by 16 pixels, so that we can select all the individual tiles within this tile map. And then if we open up the map itself, look at that. That's the map that we had generated inside of tiled. It is now inside of Unreal Engine. It kept all of our layers, right? So we have our items layer, our walls and floors layer, and our background layer. So that's great. It's been imported. We could now sort of edit it if we wanted to. So, you know, I'm on the items layer. If I wanted to remove one of these chests, I could do so. It's telling me that there are no collisions enabled, so we'll get to that in a moment. One of the things, there's a few things that we should probably change here by default. One of them is the separation per layer. That's sort of how far apart these layers are going to be when we bring them into a level, and I can sort of show us that in some Paper 2D tutorials, they suggest like a separation of 4. I found with the maps that are generated by tiled, my character was sometimes appearing behind the background, and I was able to fix that by changing the separation per layer to 5 Unreal units, and so I've done that here. The other thing is, if we were to open up a tile map that was built inside of Unreal, we would see that the material is set to masked unlit sprite material, and whereas this material is the translucent unlit. And so if we want to make that match the default for Paper 2D, we can use this drop down. However, it's important that we, beside the search assets area, that we select the little gear and that we ensure that show plugin content is present. And then we could search for like masked unlit, and that will find us our masked unlit sprite material. So those are a couple changes that we need to make to ensure that it matches sort of a default tile map. At this point, we should be able to drag it into a level. And so here I have dragged it into a level here. Can position it within the level. What I'll do is I'll position my player start so that my player begins on this level here. But what we'll notice is my player is going to go right through the level. You can see here I probably want to position it at 0 in the Y, just like I had with my previous one, and my player start is at -4, which should be okay. I could probably do a 0 for that as well. But as you see, the player goes right through because we don't have collisions on anything. So that's what we need to set up next. In the tile map, we only need collisions likely on the items in the walls and floors layer. So on the background layer, we will disable the layer collides. And then we're going to go to the tile set here, and we're going to add some collisions. And we're just doing this with enabling colliding tiles so that we get to see which of these tiles have collisions. I'm not going to add it to everything. These are the only tiles that we were using as our floors within the map. So these are what I will add box collisions to. Like so, and I'll also add, I don't even need a collision on that for now. I will, because I'll show off sort of the difference of the placements of the layers and their collisions. Okay, so that should be enough. I can save that as well. And if I come back over here and I run this level, do I need to add it back in? Let's see. Add it in, add it at 0, and there we are. So I can sort of step up onto the scaling of my character to this tile set is not ideal. So this is not the character I would normally use with this tile set, and so the step up value for the character's movement component has a number such that it will actually go right up and over these things, which is, I mean, it's sort of okay just to show it off. But you can see I can jump here, and I should be able to, you know, fall off the edge. So that works. We've got the tile map into a level. If we wanted to see the collisions, we could go to show and show collisions, or just hit Alt-C to show those. You can zoom in and you can sort of see there's a little box that's gone around each of these collisions. The thing that I wanted to show you though is if we go into perspective mode, we can actually see that the collisions that exist inside of Paper 2D are actually 3D collisions. So look at that, and they extend on either side of our map. The reason why the collisions become sort of extruded shapes is because the way that Paper 2D works is it's still using Unreal Engine's 3D physics system. And so if we look at our player character here, it has a capsule component. That's what's going to be colliding with the environment, and it's the standard 3D capsule component. So it's not two-dimensional like the sprite, it is three-dimensional, and we can see that by, like, if we sort of rotate around our character, we can see we have this large 3D capsule in which our sprite exists, and it's that which is going to be interacting with the collisions. So it's sort of, we need some 3D collisions. You can also see here with the collisions, if I sort of slow down my camera a bit and I move in sideways, you can sort of see the fact that, like, the different layers, as I said, that there's sort of a separation between the different layers. You can see here we have the closest layer is the items. That's this treasure chest, and then after that 10 Unreal units in, we have the floor, and then past that we have the background, And you can see, because of the fact that those layers are separated out, the collision for the chest sort of extends further than the collision for the floors. But again, that doesn't really matter because our character is going to be locked to a particular position along the y-axis. So having those sort of have slightly different places in space in 3D space should not matter. And again, if I play my level, there's my character interacting with the level that we imported. There are a few more things that we could do. One of those things is sometimes you will see some visual tearing in a level between tiles, and this can be fixed. It's a very simple fix, and you should probably do that for all of your tile sets anyways. Is you just find the tile set, you right click on it, and you say condition tile set texture, and this creates a new tile set texture which is slightly padded. So I'll show you the original tile set texture. Looks like this, very straightforward. If we open up the newly created one though, one of the things you can see is that the difference between the two is that some extra padding was sort of placed around each of the tiles. It's basically taken the outermost pixel around the edge of the tiles and sort of mirrored that or padded that out on all sides of the tile. This is just a fix that is going to help with that tearing. And so beyond just selecting it, that's all you need to do is select the thing and tell it to condition the tile set. If you go back into your tile mat or your tile set, you can see now it's got that conditioned look, but it still selects the correct tiles within there. What if you wanted to update your level within Tiled and bring those updates back into Unreal? That's where this workflow breaks down, right? So if you had simple fixes that you wanted to make to your tile map, we saw that you could make these just straight up inside of Unreal, right? If I wanted to go in and add another chest to this items layer, I could do that. If I save that and I go back to my level, you can see that that chest is now present within the level. But the niceties that existed inside of Tile don't exist here. I can't just sort of like go and select a large selection of tiles and sort of repeat those and stamp those out within my level. But I also can't fix things up in Tiled and import again, right? So let's say I wanted to grab, I'm going to go to walls and floors, grab all of this, going to copy and paste it and paste it up here. Go to items and put in another chest up top here. If I wanted to save this tile map and then export it out, so I'll say like export as, and I export to that same JSON file that we had previously, save over that, go back to Unreal, go back to my content drawer. If I was just to try to bring this JSON file into Unreal, I get an error. It's off screen for you, but it says failed to re-import paper tile map. So you cannot re-import the tile map. The only real fix, and this is a disappointing part of this entire workflow, is that you basically have to export it to a new JSON file and abandon your previous map, your previous tile set, and your previous textures. What that means is after making fixes, you've got some work to do. You will need to, again, go into your tile map and ensure that you have properly set your separation layer, that you've properly defaulted your material, that you have conditioned your tile set, that you have added collisions to your tile set. You're gonna have to do all of that work over again. And so that is the downside to working in Tiled, which is that, say you finish playtesting and you realize that there's some major restructuring needed to the level, you have to sort of completely remove that level from Unreal and start the import process again from Tiled. If you find a better way to do a re-import, please let me know. I hope this video was helpful for you, and have yourself a great rest of your day.